I wake up, still a bit hungover, and look at old photographs. I look around the apartment for a bit and glare ruefully at the monuments purchased in Greece with Sarah. They're strange things, stones with arabesque patterns. We had bought the things from a street vendor in Cyprus for a new decor since Sarah wanted to make an impression now that we had decided to live together. I thought they were ominous since shortly after our trip she got sick. I blame the stones, but I can't bring myself to part with them now that she's gone. They help me remember her. We were always arguing when we were together, but I realize now that it was love. She was beautiful. She had a fair complexion and resembled porcelain in her delicacy. I do her no justice by describing her, but she had these wonderful eyes that I could never describe, only that they seemingly had this gravitational pull whenever I would look at them. It was unbearable watching her die. I visited her every day at the hospital until one day an angel appeared before me. He said his name was Ezrael and that he had come for Sarah's soul. I begged and pleaded with him not to take her, as she was the only thing in my life worth living for. I remember feeling a draft as this massive creature took his claw-like hand and reached into her bosom, as I could do nothing but watch in awe as the love of my life withered away. With that, she was gone, and the angel had disappeared. A couple months later, I met Stephanie. She was a secretary for some electrical company, and she was beautiful by conventional means. She had an olive-skin complexion and had put on this tough exterior after years of being in bad and often abusive relationships. We started dating for a couple months when she decided that she wanted to move in. My alcoholism began taking a turn for the worse, but I never treated her badly, though I could tell she felt like something bad was about to happen. And so it did. As one night, in a drunken fury, I got incensed with the rocks and threw them out the window, only to hit a car on the road. A man in a trench coat got out of the vehicle and approached the house and rapped on the door. Stephanie answered the door, and the stranger forcefully made his way inside. He pulled out a gun and began shouting at us. There was a scuffle, and Stephanie, being the lively spirit that she was, tried in vain to overtake the man with the gun, but was killed as the gun set off. The man in the trench coat relented and drove off as I was left impotent, as I watched 2 women in my life die. I called the police, but they said they could not trace the man down and that I would have to be taken into questioning. They wanted to see me the next day and said I should get some rest for tomorrow morning. I went up to bed, but paranoia had filled my mind. What if the murderer had found a way to frame me? I quickly ran out of my house to the window and headed toward the cemetery. I was looking for solace, and there had only been one person in my life that had eased my mind. I made my way to Sarah's grave, and my mind, filled with madness and sin, began unearthing the body. I entered the grave and looked upon my darling corpse bride. That's when the man in the trench coat appeared, and I had a moment of recognition. It was Ezrael, with his raven black hair and scars marked upon his face. I looked in horror and then glanced at the former body of my beloved as her eyes had opened up and her body began to reanimate. Her eyes once more affected me with their gravitational pull, and in a drunken stupor, I gave in to her deathly embrace.